Hi, team. It's Bill G here, and thanks for joining me this morning um, for the coach approach. And this is episode 2. And I want to continue a theme that I started back, and that's the theme of the culture. Now, in the coach approach, what we talk about is business and all things business and business growth and how to do it. And I'm looking forward to having some guests on the episodes in the forward. But right now, I'm talking about the Scout Law. And I was a Boy Scout, and the Scout Law has 12 points. It's trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. And I had a thought that if in business that the Scout Law was still relevant, and that if you were trying to formulate your culture, if you maybe haven't defined the culture in your business, then the Scout Law might be a great place to start. And so I want to examine each area of the Scout Law and see if that makes sense. If that Scout Law that came from the early part of last century, the first decade of the last century, could still be relevant today. And my theory is that it is. So I want to chat a bit about that. So we're going to start with point 1 of the Scout Law. And point 1 of the Scout Law is trustworthy. Now, is being trustworthy relevant in business today? And the answer to me is a clear yes. I know if you're not trustworthy, you're not going to be in business very long, or you're not at least going to retain those people. So who is being trustworthy important to? Well, it's your entire circle of business. So the first area is if you're trustworthy, is that important to your customers? Of course it is. If they can't trust you to deliver on your product or service on time, then you're not trustworthy, and they're not going to keep doing business with you very long. If second constituency, that would be your team members, or maybe it should be your first constituency, your team members. You're not going to have a team very long if they can't count on you. If you're making bold promises and you're not pulling them out, and you promise one thing and you say it and you give them something else, or they hear one thing or not. And sometimes this comes down to communication, but lack of trust can happen really quickly. In fact, I find in being worthy of trust, you have to build that worth little by little, day by day, hour by hour. You have to continually demonstrate your trust. But if you do one thing that breaks that trust, even if it wasn't your so-called fault, maybe a supplier didn't deliver when they said they were going to deliver, and then you couldn't deliver your product. Great. You still notched down a little level. You've built trust. Boom, it can cut in half in one little thing. So this is why this is so important in business. The third area, of course, is vendors, your suppliers. If they can't trust you to pay them, or if you can't come to agreement, if you can't trust each other, then it's just not possible to do business. So the word that I see in a lot of culture statements, and by the way, you should have a written culture statement in your business, is integrity. And integrity, does it mean the same thing as worthy of trust or trustworthy? And I think it implies the same thing. Someone who has integrity, by the way, my view of integrity is it comes from the root word integer, which means one or complete or whole. So to be integral, or to have integrity, means essentially, in my mind, that you're going to do what you say you're going to do, when you say you're going to do it, the way you said you were going to do it. So if you have integrity, then you build trust, so you become trustworthy. So integrity and trustworthy imply the same thing. They don't mean exactly the same thing. Having integrity implies that you are trustworthy. So I think that trustworthy implies that you have integrity. So they can be used interchangeably. I don't know which word sounds better to you in your thing. Maybe you have both of them in your culture statement. So how can you work to build trust? Well, I think it's consistently doing what you said you're going to do, when you said you were going to do it, the way you said you were going to do it. So let's talk about what that means and how to do it. So the first thing is over deliver and under promise, or under promise and over deliver is generally the way that it's done. You have to I can just tell you early in my career, I would believe something and I would, sometimes it was supplier related, and I would promise something to a customer and later have to go back and eat crow and eat my words. Well, I'd lost trust with that customer until I could, then maybe I would, do what I said I was going to do and deliver it and deliver it and deliver it and deliver it. And that was a case of over promising, which going to make you under deliver. So you have to promise what you know you can deliver. That's number one. Number two, I don't think you should agree to do things that you don't really care about. If you don't care about it, then don't do it. And then, thirdly, just get up every morning and agree to be trustworthy. So, yeah. Until next week. I hope you have a fantastic week. And until then, all the best. Tune in next week to the Coach Approach. If you've enjoyed this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, all the best.